everybody, it's Candace from FoodLoveTog, getting ready to make a quick meatloaf. How you doing? How you doing? So I've started out with I've sauteed up some carrots, onions, celery, and green pepper. And right now I'm just chopping up some mushrooms. Possibly showing you that. Yeah, chopping up some mushrooms because I pack my meatloaf with tons of veggies. So I've got some ground beef, and I've got some ground pork, and I am going to quickly pull this together to make a meatloaf. So just to show you what I have. So I've got some ground beef that I got from my favorite buddy over at the butcher. Good, wholesome, delicious stuff. And I've got some ground pork that I get from my local butcher again. Good stuff. That's what I put in my meatloaf. Ground pork. Yummy, yummy. So chopping up some mushrooms that I'm going to put in there. I'm going to saute those for a couple of minutes just to get them a little soft because they're going to cook in the meatloaf while they're going to cook in the meatloaf. I'm so terrible at this. This is my first time, so please don't judge me. So I'm going to drop these into some butter that I've got sauteing, and I'm going to get them soft. Hold on. So that's that. Just got some mushrooms going down to go into my meatloaf. And it's about 4 or 5 portobello mushrooms that I put in there. I dice them up really good. And that's what I get started with my meatloaf. Preheating my oven to 350. So I'm going to dump my ground beef into my pan. I'm gonna smush that around, get that all in there. And it's about 1.25 pounds of ground chuck. I keep saying ground beef, ground chuck, and 1 pound of ground pork. So right now I'm just kind of mixing this all together. Just kind of gonna let it all mesh together. And I'm gonna add salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, onion powder, and I already put some fresh garlic down into my onions, carrots, celery, green pepper. So we've got the garlic element in there as well. So let me wash my hands real quick. Okay, sorry, back. So this is kind of what it's gonna look like right now. I use a big roaster pan for my meatloaf just so that I can, because I'm gonna stuff this sucker. It's gonna be packed full of good stuff. So right now I'm just adding in some kosher salt for seasoning, and you can use what you like. I use sea salt, kosher salt, whatever. And I'm gonna get some black pepper in here too as well. Hold on. Got some black pepper in here as well. And some paprika. Like I said, that's all getting together. My mushrooms are salting up. Just gonna let them get a little soft here. And just to show you kind of what I've done, I've got about almost 1.5 cups of onions, celery, carrots, green pepper. I'll saute that up, let that get a little soft, and I'm gonna dump that into my meatloaf. Hi, Shy, how are you? Oh, thank you for the hearts. This is my first scope. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'm just mixing that in there. All of that in there. And like I said, it's about 1.5 cups of, oh, thank you. I look a mess. Thank you. Thank you so much. Y'all are sweet. Thank you. 1.5 cups onions, carrots, celery. Is that Hi, Stacy. Hi. Hey! How y'all doing? I love my babs. I love y'all, for real. I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Alright, so those mushrooms are pretty much done as far as what I'm doing right now. Just going to drop those in as well. Normally, I would let them cool, but I don't have the time for all that. So, there's that. And I'm going to mix that into my meatloaf. Show y'all what that looks like. It's really hot. Normally I would let them cool, but ain't nobody got time for that. So there's that. And so I'm gonna put, I don't measure, y'all know I have to measure for y'all know I don't. So I use Italian breadcrumbs in my meatloaf, and it's typically about a cup of breadcrumbs in there, a cup and a half, just depending on how much ground meat I have. Gonna let that all mix in really well. And as you can see, like I said, I love my meatloaf to have lots of good hearty veggies in it. That's the one way I can get my daughter to eat veggies, is by hiding it in food. My husband as well. So yeah, I hide veggies and everything. If you come to my house, you'll probably eat carrots and stuff that you didn't realize carrots is gonna be put in. So, like I said, about a cup and a half of Italian breadcrumbs to go in there. We have garlic, onions, green pepper, carrots, paprika, black pepper, salt, and breadcrumbs in our ground chuck and our ground pork. I'm going to grab an egg. Alright, so I've got an egg. Typically, I would beat it, but it's Periscope, I don't got time for that. I'll beat up an egg. What I'm going to do is just kind of mush that around and get it all broken up. And I'm going to massage this into my meatloaf. When you're working with meatloaf, you got to get your hands dirty. You got to get your hands in there so that you can feel the goodness of the meat, as I call it. So mix that in really well. Mix it up, get it all combined, and you're going to press it down. It's going to be moist. The egg adds an extra moisture, and it really helps as a binder for your meatloaf. Like I said, you got to get your hands in there, press it down. Typically, if I didn't have such a great cut of meat, I would add a little milk in there. But this meat is so fresh and so moist, I'm not going to need the milk. So I'm just pressing it down into my pan. Make it all even, and you'll see there's tons of goodness all in there. Press it down. Get it all in your pan. You can use whatever type of pan you use. My mother uses this old 13 by whatever pan that she's been making meatloaf in ever since I was a baby. But I use this big roaster pan because I like how it helps my sides get crispy and all that good stuff. So here we go. Real quick, easy meatloaf. Again, we've got a pound of ground chuck, about a pound and a half of ground chuck, and we've got a pound of ground pork. You can use whatever you like. Sometimes I put veal, sometimes I use turkey. My meatloaf recipe is pretty much the same. I've got a cup and a half of onions, carrots, celery, all diced together. I sauteed that up really good, and I diced up about 5 baby Bella mushrooms and sauteed those just until they're a little soft, because they're going to cook fully in the oven. Now, my oven is preheated. It's preheated to about 350 degrees. I have a gas oven. This sucker burns up. Let me tell you, it's hot up in this kitchen right now. I really need y'all to know that. So about 350, and I'm gonna let it cook for about 45 minutes to an hour. I kind of undercook it just a little bit, just because I'm gonna glaze it with a crushed tomato sauce. Real simple. I'll show you guys that here shortly, but let me wash my hands and get this in the oven. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I've got my meatloaf made, and I can show you what it looks like. Y'all know meatloaf does not look that pretty pre-made, but here it is. Super huge pan of meatloaf. We've got mushrooms, onions, carrots, garlic, breadcrumbs, egg, ground chuck, ground pork. About to put it in the oven for about 45 minutes. All right. Okay, that's in the oven. While I have you here, I appreciate y'all turning in. Thank you for the love. I am so grateful. Thank y'all for tuning in to my little Periscope. I am going to make a quick and easy tomato sauce for meatloaf. So I use crushed tomatoes, a can of crushed tomatoes, and a half a cup of brown sugar, and one of my secret weapons, frozen onions. So maybe, possibly, almost, maybe, I don't know. Where are my frozen onions? Okay, so typically I have some frozen onions in here. I need to find them. So what I do is I add a can of crushed tomatoes, a half a cup of brown sugar, and some onions, and I just let that simmer on the stove. Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. I can't find my stuff. You know how your husband rearranges your freezer. You get everything how you like it, and then rearrange your freezer, and life is just hell. So that said, I typically just add a can of crushed tomato. I know you understand. I know you understand. It drives me batty. Absolutely drives me batty. It's just like, really, dude? Like, I do the grocery shopping. I do the bulk of the cooking. Can you leave my kitchen how I like it, please? That's my life. So, but can of crushed tomatoes, half a cup of brown sugar with about a quarter cup of onions, and I just let that simmer on the stove on low while my meatloaf is cooking. And right before the meatloaf is finished, top it with my sauce, put it back in the oven uncovered, and let that brown on top, let that get all good and tasty and yummy and good and delicious and savory. And then I serve my meatloaf just like that. So when the meatloaf is almost ready, I will come back on and scope how the sauce looks. Really, thank y'all for joining into my first scope. I was really nervous, didn't know how this was gonna work, but thank y'all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I love my babs. I appreciate y'all. So that's that. I'm gonna get my sauce working here, gonna find my onions, and I will scope how to make the sauce. Thank you, Shy. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. So I will scope again here shortly, okay? I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye. Talk to you later.